Quantum leaders, the visionary. The preconscious flow of reality. The visionary's natural style, thriving on abstract concepts and systems, finds its deepest source not in the conscious mind, but in the preconscious layer of awareness where symbols, archetypes, and collective images arise before articulation. The most potent visions are not thought, they are received. This quantum principle reveals that visionaries are not creators in the traditional sense, but receivers of encoded information streaming from the field of becoming. Their task is to allow that flow, not control it. With a motivation direction of towards, the visionary seeks to bring future realities into form. But the preconscious flow reminds them that the future doesn't need to be forced. It's already arriving in subtle waves beneath their awareness. Their greatest breakthroughs emerge not from effort, but from surrendering to that current and learning to translate it. When they stop pushing and start tuning in, the visionary field sharpens. Their attention focus on others shifts from external observation to energetic attunement. The visionary learns to feel the emotional atmospheres, hidden longings, and subtle psychological patterns in others that haven't yet reached language. These are not data points. They are signals from the preconscious. When they allow those signals to shape their design and communication, their ideas land with uncanny relevance. An internal frame of reference is essential here. The preconscious does not speak in logic. It speaks in metaphor, rhythm, and emotional frequency. Visionaries who trust their inner images, instincts, and symbols become conduits for what collective consciousness is preparing to birth. Their leadership deepens not through intellect, but through decoding the language of the not yet known. Their operational style of options gives them access to preconscious creativity. Before choice becomes rational, it is felt. Visionaries who learn to sense which options hum with life beneath logic begin to create with the future's frequency. Their flexibility becomes a gift when paired with stillness, allowing space for preconscious impressions to rise undistorted before being shaped into action. With a general viewpoint, visionaries already think thematically. The preconscious field provides them with mythic, symbolic frameworks that resonate across audiences. These aren't intellectual frameworks, they're energetic patterns. When a visionary trusts these motifs, even if they lack conventional rationale, they speak directly to the soul. They become interpreters of cultural dreams before society names them. In proximity-based work, visionaries can begin sensing shared fields, not just collaborating, but accessing group-level preconscious information. Ideas often emerge simultaneously across team members, not because of shared discussion, but because of shared access to an emerging layer of insight. Visionaries who attune to this collective flow can lead innovation through silence and presence alone. Their associated emotional engagement now becomes their compass. Emotions are not interruptions, they are guidance systems from the preconscious. Visionaries who listen to emotional movement within themselves while in contact with emerging ideas find direction. The feeling of awe, unease, excitement, or stillness signals the approach of deeper information. To feel fully is to receive clearly. As mismatchers, visionaries instinctively reject what feels stale or surface level. The preconscious flow enhances this instinct. They sense when something is lifeless, not through reason, but through energetic dissonance. They can spot hollow structures because they are tuned to deeper rhythms. Their disruption becomes less reactionary and more revelatory, surfacing what is trying to emerge underneath the obsolete. A through-time orientation becomes a gift for translating the preconscious. Because they see long arcs, visionaries can give language and structure to that which is still forming. They chart patterns that others feel but cannot name. Their visions stabilize what is arriving. Their primary drive, ideas, takes on sacred function. An idea is not something they invent. It is a wave they catch and shape. The visionary becomes a vessel through which the unseen becomes visible, where the formless takes form and where the future flows into now. Quantum leaders, the visionary. You are the tipping point. The visionary's natural style, operating in vast systems and imagined futures, culminates in the understanding that their presence is catalytic. They are not outside the field they observe. They are the hinge point, the trigger, the fulcrum. The quantum principle that you are the tipping point reveals that visionaries carry disproportionate influence. Their ideas ripple into paradigm shifts, not because they are loud, but because they are attuned. One insight, one articulation, one presence can shift the whole field. With a motivation direction of towards, the visionary aims forward. But this principle reminds them, the tipping point is not later, it is now. Every action, thought, and idea is part of a critical accumulation. They must stop waiting for perfect timing and begin seeing each moment as structurally significant. What they say in a meeting, the stance they take in a quiet decision, these are tipping moments. Small does not mean minor. Their attention focus on others becomes powerful in its consequence. The visionary's ability to impact minds, systems, and cultures doesn't happen en masse. It happens one interaction at a time. Their focused attention on one person can change the trajectory of a community. Every conversation becomes a node. Every person they see fully becomes a portal. They are the tipping point, not only in ideas, but in human activation. An internal frame of reference ensures their compass is unshaken by noise, but the tipping point principle demands they refine this compass constantly. Every belief they hold with certainty radiates structurally outward. A distortion within, when projected through a visionary voice, can destabilize networks. But a single well-aligned conviction, spoken clearly, can reorganize the chaotic. The visionary must become vigilant in internal coherence. Their operational style of options becomes their superpower when seen as choice architecture. Every option explored, every potential entertained, becomes a potential tipping line in a complex system. They need not choose perfectly, they need to choose consciously. Even the exploration of an improbable idea can spark a larger systemic unlocking. The visionary's mental flexibility is systemic leverage. The general viewpoint of frameworks and themes now demands they see their narratives not just as communication, but as architecture. Each word they use, when to say collapse, when to say emergence, shapes how people orient to possibility. They become tipping points of worldview. Their language becomes quantum levers. With proximity in teams or groups, the visionary carries a gravitational presence. If their energy is fragmented, the team fragments. If they are aligned and visionary, coherence emerges. The tipping point is not in their directive, it's in their state. Teams calibrate to the visionary's interior world before they even speak. The field responds to frequency before strategy. Their associated emotional engagement gives depth to every idea, but it also intensifies the tipping point effect. If they are emotionally enmeshed with their vision, that charge becomes an amplifier. The visionary must learn to hold emotion as precision energy, not volatile fuel, but catalytic clarity. Their felt state determines not just what gets created, but how far it spreads. As a mismatcher, the visionary pushes boundaries and questions norms. But every act of defiance must now be seen as systemic intervention. When they reject, reframe, or refuse, they send a signal through the network. Is it reaction or redesign? Destruction or redirection? Their refusal is a lever. Their challenge is a pulse. Every decision to oppose must be understood as a force that can tip systems off balance or into renewal. With a through-time orientation, visionaries know the power of compound momentum. This final principle affirms their timeline awareness. Revolutions don't erupt, they accumulate. The tipping point is not a single act. It's 100 conscious choices leading to one catalytic moment. And their primary drive ideas are not abstractions. They are levers, vectors, switches in the collective nervous system. The visionary who realizes they are the tipping point stops waiting, stops hedging, stops fragmenting. They embody the future now, because they know that when they do, the world cannot help but respond.